record. All right. So this is how to break out of a weight loss plateau without just cutting calories again. Cutting calories is honestly the reason why you keep regaining the weight, right? You're making progress, you hit a wall. The number stagnates. It stops going down for a couple days, and you start freaking out. Like, what's going wrong? What's going wrong? What am I doing wrong? Where am I going wrong? What's happening? Why is the weight not going down? I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything I was doing before, but for some reason the weight scale stopped going down. What's going on? Something you need to understand is that your metabolism is a very, very adaptable mechanism within the body, right? And the metabolism can be defined as your sum total of the sum total of all chemical reactions that happen inside the body, right? So, digesting food is one of the primary ways we can manipulate how many chemical reactions are happening within the body, right? So we understand that now. So is exercise. Those are the two primary methods at which we can control the amount of chemical reactions happening within the body. So, with that being said, less calories equals a slower metabolism. And then, thus, another plateau until you lose your mind and you give up and go off the rails, right? You hit that screw up button. We've all been there. I've been there numerous times, right? Because here's the thing, you can only drive calories so low that eventually the only place to go from there is to eat nothing or hit the screw up button and eat all of the calories. And since your metabolism has slowed down after days, weeks, months of dieting, because your metabolism has slowed down, if you go back to eating the way you ate before the weight loss attempt, you're actually in a more extreme surplus and you explode in weight. And because of your slower metabolism, it's actually harder to lose weight again, right? This is actually why research actually now shows that people who intentionally go on diets throughout the year actually end up gaining more weight than people who just do kind of live their life. People who non-dieters, non-attempts at weight loss on average gain about, I think, 1.4 pounds per year on average. Every year, they once they reach adulthood, they start gaining weight, 1.4 pounds per year. The average dieter, the average person who actively chases fat loss will gain between 3 to 5 pounds per year on average. This is why, is because when you diet, your metabolism slows down and then you go back to the way you were eating before. And now you've made it. Now, not only are you gaining more weight than you started with, but you're actually making it harder to lose weight the next time you try. So it's actually better to try to lose weight the right way and get it off one and done rather than constantly trying again and again. You're actually better off not dieting at all if you're not going to do it the right way. Right. So if we think about from the metabolism, the food that we eat, let's say we're eating 2,000 calories a day, we drop down to 1,900, then we drop down to 1,600, then we drop down to 1,400, and then the dreaded 1,200 calories per day. And even if you manage to reach your goal, good luck maintaining it, because 1,200 calories is the amount of calories a toddler should be eating, not a full-grown adult. So don't buy into the hype that you just need to eat less and eat less and eat less and eat less, right? So in this, I'm going to teach you, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to navigate weight loss plateaus without that inevitable rebound, and so that you can actually use dropping calories as a last resort, not a go-to method, right? And things we got to understand is, look, plateaus in and of themselves can be scary. They're frustrating and infuriating, and you'll often feel stuck and feel like you're doing something wrong, or you're not doing enough, or you need to be even more strict and even more rigid and have even more willpower and be more motivated and be more disciplined and just try harder. And these are always what leads to that crash dieting tactics and burnout that comes with dieting. I like to look at plateaus as tests. When your weight stalls, It is testing you. It is an obstacle put in your way to test your commitment and ability to actually follow through on this. It tests your mindset, where you are mentally. It tests your patience. It's testing your consistency. It's testing your resolve, your commitment, mindset. Again, like the finite versus infinite. Is it a dial? Is it a diet or is it a lifestyle? Are we trying to make small tweaks or are we going to go into a full overhaul? Right. The problem is, like, a lot of people like to say, oh, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. And then, however, it is only a lifestyle under the context and under the condition that they get the results of that lifestyle, which then actually makes it not a lifestyle. It actually makes it not a lifestyle at all, because lifestyle literally has life in the word, meaning you need to do this for life. And that's why people, when they hit a plateau, they go, oh, diet's not working, time to go find a new one. And they completely overhaul their entire process instead of making small tweaks and just minor adjustments. And then actually, oh, hey, look, that one thing just needed a little bit tweaking. And now I'm actually making progress again. Because that's the thing, plateaus are normal. Plateaus should be expected. They are part of the process. Fat loss is not meant to be a straight line all the way to the finish. It is not linear. It's up and down, up and down. Last year, when I was getting ready for my wedding, in May, I lost. I think I was 211 pounds one day. The next day, I was down to 208, 3 pounds in a day. And most people would look at that and get ecstatic. Yes, I'm going in the right direction. It's working. But then the next day after that, I was back up to 212. And this is where a lot of people kind of get messy with the process. Is they went up to, if most people would look at that 212 and instantly hit the panic button. Oh no, like I screwed up. What did I do wrong? Like I didn't fall off plan yesterday. Why did my weight go up? Oh God, something's going wrong. But then the very next day, again, the next day after that, I dropped down to 206, 6 pounds in a day, but 2 pounds later than the first drop. Interesting. So what you can take away from that story is be patient. If I had done the typical response of hitting that 212 mark, where I believe I screwed up, I believe I did something wrong. Most people make the mistake of believing they did something wrong and then going and proving themselves right. Going and proving and causing the problem that they think they caused, but didn't actually cause. Because my diet did not change at all throughout that process. I ate the exact same thing on day one, the exact same thing on day two, the exact same thing on day three, and the exact same thing on day four. And my weight still bounced around. But overall, in that 10-week run that I did trying to lose weight for my wedding, I lost almost 30 pounds. But if I had responded in the way that most people will, I would have gone back and I would have made sure that I didn't lose weight at all. I would have gained it all back. It was testing my patience, right? Plateaus are your body trying to tell you something. And if you're not receptive to those messages and signals, of course you're going to get frustrated. You can't outwork or ignore your body's needs and then expect it to respond in the way that you want it to. Plateaus are tests. They are testing your ability to listen, to see if you're actually ready to level up your results and actually deserve the next level results that you're after. Because if you were actually doing everything right, you would make progress. So that stall, that pause, that plateau is saying, hey, you've gotten this far, but now it's time to level up again. We need to do a little bit different. Something that needs changed a little bit. You need to listen to understand what that might be, what that change might be. And therefore, If you're not making progress, there is something that you're not taking into account in your day-to-day actions. So let's get into the main ways to bust through a weight loss plateau without cutting calories. First thing right off the bat is we have to get our schmeck in check. If you're new here, what does that mean? Your schmeck is simple. It is your sleep, your stress, your hunger, your hormones, metabolism, energy, environment, and cravings. Sleep is the number one foundation of health and youth. If you get 3 nights a week of poor sleep, you will have a hormone profile that resembles that of someone a decade older. Sleep is number one. If your sleep is gone, your willpower goes with it. If your sleep is gone, your ability to make better decisions goes with it. If your sleep isn't on point, your hunger hormones are dysregulated. Your cravings go up. All of these things happen. It is the number one factor that determines someone's success, backed by mountains of evidence. The next biggest thing that will play the biggest role in your overall success is your environment. The number one factor is not more willpower, being more disciplined, wanting it more, or the time, not having the time, not finding the perfect plan. It's environment. Your home environment and your work environment, specifically your home environment, but both are huge, right? They are where you spend the most time. So if your home environment is not set up for success, your likelihood of success plummets, right? So you hopefully kind of understand why these things are important. Cravings. If you're still emotional eating, binge eating, guess what? No calorie deficit is going to fix that problem. So we need to get our cravings under control. We need to get our binge eating under control, our emotional control. We need these things under control. We need these things with a green check mark beside it before we even try a diet in the first place. So understand that like those are the foundation, right? If you hire a contracting team to build you your dream house or your dream body, guess what? If you build that beautiful home, 6 months later, the team comes back to you and goes, hey, you know what? The home is great. The home looks beautiful. The walls are solid, but we forgot to put in a foundation. See you later. Bye. And then left. How long would you trust that new home, that perfect home, to last? Oh, by the way, hurricane season starts next week. Best of luck. It's all going to come crashing down. It's not going to last. That's a crash diet. Crash diets, or like trying to just cram your calories as low as possible to back down to 1,200 to try and lose weight. That is, sure, you might eventually reach the goal, but you're going to be frustrated the whole time. You're going to feel like garbage. And you know that those results that came with it are going to be unsustainable because the method was unsustainable. There was no foundation put in place. That is what your schmeck is. It is your foundation. It's the thing that holds your dream body together. So, method number one, if all of those are in check, if your sleep, your stress, your hunger, your hormones, metabolism, energy, environment, and cravings are all in alignment, then you are in a position where you can actually address these tactics to try and bust through a weight loss plateau. So, number one, do you need a break? I know this is very counterintuitive, but diet breaks and refeed days are super important for someone who's being super consistent with their weight loss protocols. Like if you actually are being super consistent, and you know this with objective facts, you are getting 8, 9, 10 out of 10 days every single day. You're getting 80, 90, 100% every single day. Then you know for a fact that you are being 100% on the ball. Maybe you need a break. Because let's face it, everyone at some point is going to burn out after sticking to a diet for so long. Even if you're doing it sustainably, even if you are doing it the right way, regardless if you like seeing the scale go down, that is considered a stress, right? If the scale is going down, you might psychologically like it, but your physiology hates it. The body and brain hate change, right? So if the scale's going down, you are literally breaking your body apart, like dissolving parts of your body. And no matter how happy that makes you, Your body considers it a stress and eventually puts up its defenses. So what you need to do sometimes is also some people diet for 12 to 18 to 20 weeks straight. Some people have been chronically dieting for years. And so some people can go that long, while others might only be good for 3 to 4 weeks at a time before needing a little bit of a break. So, if you need a mental break, because let's face it, trying to be more strict is super can be mentally taxing. It can be very, very much draining, and you can hit diet burnout very, very quickly. You can hit a wall and just not want to do it anymore. If you don't want to do it anymore, you're going to build resentment. If you build resentment, you're more likely to look forward to not being on a diet. Right. And the idea, again, if we're turning this into a lifestyle, we need to find a method that we can do for life. So during this diet break, which can last anywhere between 1, 2 to 3 weeks, whatever it is that you feel like you need, I have found the most success with myself and my clients with that 2 week break. And during that diet break, you're going to take your calories up to maintenance for a predetermined period of time. Like I said, like two weeks seems to work really good. And so what that does is now, like, you have to understand as well that when we're going into this, we need to intentionally stay the same. We're not trying to lose weight during this period, because if we're losing weight, our metabolism is going to slow down. So what we need to know, understand that these diet breaks are not forever. They're for a very short period of time. During that short period of time, we are not expecting to lose weight. You're eating more food, so naturally your body weight will jump up by a few pounds, but it should float there for a little bit while we're going through this maintenance phase, this little mini diet break. And then we jump right back on the wagon. So you feel way better, right? And also know that diet breaks is not an excuse to make it a free for all. We're not going into this trying to eat like an asshole for 2 weeks, right? The only caveat to this is, like, if you're going on vacation, enjoy your vacation, right? Like, that's like the only really caveat to this. During this diet break, you need, like, what you'll get is you'll get the minimal, you won't get a lot of physical changes during this diet break, but the real changes really come mentally, right? So that being said, when you take a week or two to maintain, it will also drastically reduce the slowing down of the metabolism. So when you are trying to lose weight, your metabolism slows down, like I talked about. When you hit a diet break, it slows down the slowing down of your metabolism. It puts a brake on it, because the longer and longer you go, the more and more your body goes, okay, well, we're doing this, so we got to drop our metabolism faster and faster and faster to catch up with your calorie deficit. So by hitting the pause button, you stop the signal of drop your metabolism. When you hit a diet break, you kind of hit a pause button on how slow your metabolism will become. So you can actually do this longer, and you'll be more mentally acute, because, hey, you know what? I've been dieting for like 6 weeks. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm getting frustrated. Hey, hit the pause button, hit the brakes, enjoy some of those fun foods a little bit more. Worry less about trying to being super strict with your diet, and just worry about kind of enjoying the good quality foods, enjoying the better quality of life that you've built for yourself for a couple weeks. Have that stress go, okay, my body isn't in as much danger as it thought it was. I'm now in the clear to continue. Okay, so method number 2, and this is actually the most common one, because most people think they're um think they're doing it right, but a lot of the times they're just not. So number 2 is, do we need to tighten up your consistency? Once again, no one is saying that you're intentionally not trying to be consistent. Like I said, most people fall into this camp where they think they're doing everything right. So no one's harping on what you think you're doing. You believe you're being consistent. But 9 times out of 10, people drastically underestimate how many calories they're actually consuming. Because after so long, you're more likely to be a little less adherent. After doing it for so long, you kind of fall into this rhythm and get kind of monotonous, and you're more likely to kind of slip up. Like, it happens. It happens to me all the time. Right? And it could be as simple as, like, the few untracked bites, maybe licks, maybe like your husband you're kind of laughing with your husband, so you reach over and take some fries, or while you're cooking, you're starving, so you just slip a bite of chicken into your mouth while you're cooking, while you're getting ready to come because I'm going to eat. Like there's a lot of little things, right? And it's just maybe you're just not as on point as you think you are. And that's normal. That is 100% normal and expected. But when we're seeing a plateau for 4 to 6 weeks without any changes in progress, it could very easily that we're just no longer putting in all the puzzle pieces together. At the beginning, we were putting the puzzle pieces together. We started losing weight. And then over time, the gap between those puzzle pieces got wider and wider because it got more quote unquote boring. And it's monotonous and repeated and tedious. And so we just kind of stopped doing the little things that matter. It could be as simple as like have the steps gone down, either just with being not being as intentional about getting your steps in as you used to be, or maybe the weather changed. And because the weather changed, because it's ugly outside, you just decided not to go for your walk like you usually do. That's normal. And again, to be expected. Are you still weighing out your food like 80 to 90% of it? Are you still tracking everything without leaving things out? Are you still dealing with additional stressors or lacking sleep, both of which can help you hold on to weight and make you more resistant to losing weight? Are you being consistent on weekends? Because a lot of people go, "Hey, yeah, Chris, I track like I'm really consistent. I'm tracking most days." I'm like, "Cool. What about the weekends?" And it's like, "Nah, I usually get a little bit more relaxed on the weekends." Got it. So your weekends are where you're not being as consistent, um, right? And so usually when I have this discussion with a client, one or more of these areas you are usually where they're beginning to slip up. We tighten that up and start to see progress again. And keep in mind, when you're saying you don't really track as much on weekends, you're only tracking 5 out of 7 days. That means you're only tracking about 60% of your week. And when we talk about consistency, we're aiming for 80% or above. So by not tracking those 2 days, guess what? You're well below that consistency mark. And in my welcome pack, and look, like in my welcome packet that I usually hand out to clients when I'm onboarding them into the program, what it says, it has a list of things that they need. One of them being a food scale. And I have a client who got their welcome packet and like told me they were ready. So we got on our call and we had the protocol and we started going. And over the next 6 months, we went and not a single pound was lost. And we were both getting frustrated. Like, what's going on? I'm a naturally trusting person. So I trust that they're tracking like they say they are. I trust that they're doing what they're doing. However, 6 months down the road, I realized they realized, we kind of realized together that we weren't actually tracking. She didn't buy a food scale. So she just assumed she was eyeballing it and just assumed she was doing things right. And she told me that she had done the things necessary before we got on her first call. I believed her. And so she went 6 months without ever tracking food. She told me she was, but she wasn't. She thought she was doing everything right, despite the fact that she clearly was not. When we started tracking things, we got $20, bought a food scale, realized that how much she was actually eating. We tightened that up. Hey, look, progress started to get made again. I had another client who tracked for years, but kind of fell out of it. And we were talking, and she was like, "Chris, I don't understand. I'm not losing weight. Like I'm eating perfectly clean food, super healthy or organic, everything. Why am I not losing weight?" And so we pulled out the food scale, and it's something as simple. What she thought was 5 to 6 ounces of chicken thighs actually was about 11 ounces. 11 ounces of chicken thighs is like 700 calories. That's a lot. That is a lot. She hit her protein target. She was hitting her protein target every single day. That made me happy. But the chicken thighs also have a little bit more fat than chicken breast. And so the calories exploded. And so she's at 11 ounces where she's almost doubled her calorie load just because she wasn't paying attention. Like you can't know if you're doing everything right if you're not actually creating awareness about everything that you're doing. And I know a lot of people hate tracking, but that's usually because they're bad at it. It's tedious, it's annoying, right? But like I always say, if you want a result, you need to develop the skills required to acquire it. If you want the outcome, you need to develop the skills that are going to get you that outcome. And the more you do, the better you get. Right. And most people will get frustrated and quit tracking before they ever actually have an opportunity to properly develop the skills and then get the result that comes with it. And again, if you only work out 3 days a week, but you miss one workout every other week, well, guess what? Those weeks you're only being 66.6% consistent, still far below that 80% threshold. Sometimes busting through a plateau is not a matter of doing more or cramming calories lower and lower, but rather doing what you should already be doing and doing them better. It's not about adding more. It's about getting super consistent with the things that matter. So ask yourself, if right now I'm at a 6 out of 10 consistency, what is getting in the way of being at least an 8 out of 10? Sit down, grab a piece of paper, write down all of the obstacles that are getting in the way of you being more consistent, and then start writing down practical solutions to those obstacles, right? And how you're going to actually follow through with those solutions. We need to actually develop a plan of how we're actually going to implement those solutions, not just talk about them. We need to actually do them, right? So come up with a plan, understand what's getting in the way of you being more consistent with the things that you know you need to be doing, and then write out a plan how you're going to do it. And thirdly, maybe you just need to be more patient. Has it been long enough to actually consider this a weight loss plateau? Meaning, have you had all of the puzzle pieces together? Your sleep, your stress, your hunger, your hormones, your environment, energy, cravings, binge eating, calories, protein, fiber, steps, workout, water, all in place for at least 4 to 5 weeks? If not, then you might not actually be in a weight loss plateau. Are you seeing other forms of progress? I've had clients in the past go an entire 1-2 months with very little change in the scale, if not at all. But they've dropped about 10 to 12 inches and their entire body composition has changed. Remember, if we're going to the gym, especially if you're new to it or haven't been to the gym in a while, or you're new to strength training, muscle takes up less space than body fat, right? It's more dense. So you could build a little bit of muscle, lose a bit of fat, and still weigh the exact same. But if we're only putting our focus on the scale, then we're going to see that as a failure, even though you've lost 10 to 12 inches around their entire body. Their entire body composition has changed. Clothes are loose. They're stronger in the gym. Their energy is up. They're more mentally sharp, like acute. They're more present with their kids. Their gut health, their gassing and bloating has improved and reduced, or sometimes gone completely. Their joint pain is gone. All of those things are very clear indicators that you're not actually in a plateau. But if the scale is your main indicator of progress, then you're going to convince yourself that you're in a plateau. You'll get frustrated and you'll quit. Sometimes you just need to give it a little bit more time. I've had many conversations with clients where they just feel like they want to throw in the towel because they're not seeing progress. And after our talk, we agreed to just keep doing what we're doing just a little bit longer and see if something happens. Days later, maybe even a week later, maybe even 3 weeks later of not changing a thing, suddenly their body drops the weight. It's like a big whoosh in the scale, and they'll drop a couple pounds after a good night of sleep, less stressful day. You very well could be doing everything right. You accept patience. As I said, plateaus are tests, and this kind of plateau is just testing your patience. And throwing in the towel because the scale isn't going down is the only guarantee that you fail. It is the only way to guarantee that you fail, is if you throw in the towel. So why not just keep going? It's a lifestyle. Remember, you called it that. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. So treat it as such. And that's it. Those are the 3 best ways to bust through a weight loss plateau. Number 1, take an intentional break for 2 to 3 weeks to maintain body weight, de-stress, relax a little, have a little bit more fun, and then gear back up and ready to go. And ask yourself, number 2, if you're truly as consistent as you think you are, how do you figure that out? You have to actually collect objective data, not feelings, not your thoughts, not emotions, not I think I'm doing everything right or I feel like I'm doing everything right. It's a yes or no. It's a black or white. Are you doing everything right? The only way to know is to keep a record and ask yourself, what can you do about the obstacles that are getting in your way of being as consistent as you know you need to be? And number three, keep going. Be patient. Do not quit. You're in this for life anyway, so don't worry about it. You've got so long, you've got so much time. And the only way to actually guarantee that you do gain the weight back, that you are in a plateau, the only way to guarantee that you do fail and have to start again is if you quit. I hope this helps. If this does help, give it a like. If you got any questions, drop them down below, and I'll see you next time. Take care.